Perfect. So today I've got Christian Scafidi here. Christian,
Yes,
thanks for
sir.
joining.
How's it going?
So it's going good, man. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
Christian sold with us this most recent summer as his first summer. So just kind of starting off, man. How did you feel about your very first summer? Never done door to door. From my knowledge, you never really done anything sales related. So
Yeah.
just kind of talk to me about kind of how that went and how you felt about it.
It was first off, I'll just say it was a lot of learning. Like basically you're learning the entire time. From the first day you get there, you're learning so much to literally the last day you're there, you're still like learning as much as you can. And like
Mhm.
basically I would say like the biggest part of it was the learning. Like it's not about if like it's not about the money, it's not about, it's not about just like learning how to work, but it's just like it's about learning how to sell, learning how to talk to people, learning how to be confident in yourself, learning like it just changes your whole life. Like realistically, like if you do really good, and like I did pretty good, like for my standards, like I almost hit my perfect goal that I wanted to get to. Um, but basically, like if you do good, yeah, it'll change your life money wise. But realistically, like the biggest change was what I learned. Like it's my mentality, the way it taught me my mentality, the way it taught me sales, the way it taught me pretty much everything.
Yeah. No, that's great. What were some of like your concerns before coming out for a summer, having never done this before? Being brand new. Like,
Yeah.
what were just kind of some of your thoughts?
Um.
Pre-summer before doing this.
Well, like before I was coming out at first, like I was a little sketchy about the whole thing. Like I didn't know if it was gonna go well. I didn't know like if I was even gonna be able to sell that, or like I've never even like barely knocked on doors. Like I did that maybe when I was in elementary school, like to sell like a book of cookies or something.
Yeah.
But basically, like the wait, sorry, I lost my train of thought there. What was the question?
Yeah. So, what were some of the concerns
Oh
and
yeah.
stuff that you had before coming out, having never
So
done
yeah,
this before?
I literally have never done anything like that. So I was like, I don't know if I'm going to be able to sell. I don't know what the product is that I'm selling. So I was just like kind of winging it. But also, I was trying my hardest to train because I was like, if I train my hardest right now, it's going to make me more prepared and it's going to almost be impossible to not be successful in what I'm trying to do.
Hmm.
And even when I got there, like my first day, I sold I got two deals on my first day. And then I was like, I literally don't know if I can do that again. Right. Because I didn't have the knowledge. Like I didn't really know what I was doing. Um, but I was still able to perform somehow. And it was just because of the training, because of what I did before the summer, because I actually was like focused on even if this doesn't work, I got to make it work. Or even if it's not working, I have to make it work somehow. So that's just kind of what my biggest concerns were just not being able to get any deals or anything like that. And also just like not learning a lot. And so, you just you do have to take the risk, like there's always a risk involved. If there's,
Audio cut out a little bit.
sorry, I got a phone call. Um, basically, um, I was mentioning that you have to take the risk. If there's no risk, there's not going to be a reward, right? Like you could just go work a job all summer and really not do anything, and you're not going to learn that much. You might learn how to flip a burger or two, and you're going to come out with what they told you were going to come out with. But if you take a risk where there's a chance that you come out with nothing, realistically, like I could have gone out and not gotten any deals, right? That usually never happens because of the
Hmm.
training, because of how hard you guys push us and make us do everything that we say we're going to do. Um, basically, like you would have to, I guess what I'm trying to say is like, it's worth it in every single way. And the concerns that I had were just like, they were just dumb concerns as far as like just not being able to get any deals, or, like I'm scared that, I'm going to miss my family too much or whatever the case may be. But, I just kind of, just like put them to the back of my mind, and I was just like, I'm gonna do this whether I go and I make no money. I know it's gonna be worth it.
Yeah, absolutely. What was kind of the hardest thing about this summer for you?
The hardest thing for me was just like getting myself to be like, all right, we're just doing this again. And One thing that it was about like halfway through the summer that I started telling myself that actually like changed it was every single day I was thinking to myself, I was like, oh my gosh, I still have another day of knocking. I still have all these other days ahead of me. Like I was only 2 weeks in, and I'm like, I still have 100 more days of selling out here. But in my head, you gotta, in you like if someone that's coming up trying to do this, like you have to change your perspective on I don't have to knock the doors. It's like I get to knock the doors. It's like you have to fall in love with what you're doing. And
Hmm.
that's what actually like changed my mentality about everything is I was like instead of dreading the fact that I have to wake up every morning and go out in the hot sun or go talk to all these people that don't even want to talk to me or whatever the case may be, it's like I get to do that because these other guys are just sitting in an office getting paid the same as if they're doing nothing, right? But I actually have to grind for it. But when I do, it's a lot more worth it. You know what I
Hmm.
mean? Like you have to change that mindset. You just have to fall in love with what you're doing. Like instead of like I would constantly be telling myself, just love the process, love the process, love the process. Because if you don't love the process, the prize isn't going to be what you expected it to be.
Right. Yeah, no, I couldn't agree more. And it's one of the things that some people have a tough time with over the summer is just kind of keeping themselves in it and staying present and whatnot. So that's great.
Yeah.
Um, as far as, before your first summer, if you were to redo your very first summer again with the knowledge that you have now,
hmm
what are some things that you would change?
Um, Let me think here. I would probably one thing I would change is like um at the beginning, I mean it's something you kind of have to do especially if you're really starting, but like at the beginning I didn't like focus on the training as much as like focus on like just what I was like the pitch that I was trying to work on. Like I would focus on one pitch instead of focusing on the bigger picture of like the way the pitch works, like the intro, the inspection, the PPFB, hot button blanket, then the close, then the hot button blanket again, then the close. It's like um, I didn't understand that process until literally like the last month, right?
Hmm.
And that is what actually like helped me. Like, okay, I got to go through all these steps with these people instead of like I was focusing on the wrong type of training. I guess I'll say like I was just trying to get the pitch perfect, or I was just trying to change the pitch to where people would want to listen to me. But at the end of the day, like that stuff matters. You do need to be confident in what you're saying. Like you can't be thinking of what you're about to say. You need to know what you're going to say. But at the same time, you need to know the whole process of what you're actually going through with this person to then like proceed. Like
Right.
that was one of the biggest things I would change is just the way I trained. Um like for example, one of the other guys that was out there, Joe, like he would always be listening to himself and then trying to change what he does versus I would just be practicing the same thing, if that makes sense.
Absolutely. Yeah, so maybe just training with more intention
Yeah.
rather than just training to train type of
Yeah,
thing.
exactly. Because like I would tell myself, I'm like, yeah, I trained today, or yeah, I'm gonna
Hmm.
train tonight. But like I wouldn't have a lot of time to train, so I would just be like, yeah, I'm gonna train tonight. I'm gonna train tonight, and then I would just do a couple role plays, record them, and then call it a day. When realistically, if I would have just spent that time like just like listening to myself and trying to write down a couple little changes, and then doing like one role play, boom, call it a day. That would have been a lot more beneficial. I feel like.
Yeah, absolutely. So on a scale of 1 to 10, um, 1 being that the summer was miles easier than you expected, 10 being the summer was much harder than you had expected, where would you kind of rank your first summer?
Um, it was like it was definitely harder than I expected, but um, it was like more worth it than I thought it was going to be. Like I did not think I was going to learn as much as I did.
Hmm.
Like I was like, yeah, I'm obviously going to learn a lot. Like I'm going to be around all these guys that know what they're doing and stuff like that. But um, yeah, I would say it was harder than I thought, probably by like a 7. So like 5 would have been like it's exactly how hard I thought it was going to be, but it was like a
Yeah.
7 in hardness because like realistically the hard part isn't like walking all day or knocking on people's doors or getting yelled at. It's more like doing it every single day for like 100 days straight. You know what I mean? That's the hard part. It's
Yeah.
the mentality more than like the physical hard part of it. You know, like if you've ever worked a full-time job, or if you've ever even had a job in general, you'd probably be fine like walking around all day and talking to people. But like actually having to wake up every day, go to the meeting, you know, like get yourself there, you know, look presentable, be on time, and then go through the meeting, perform well in your role plays, and then, you know, get out to the neighborhood and be sharp and do everything that you need to do. Then you get your break, and then you have to be like right out there sharp again, trying to get your money on that second part of the day. And it feels like a whole process, like every single day. But then at the same time, you're like, you wake up, you're like, all right, here we go again. And
Hmm.
you do it, then you wake up, you're like, all right, here we go again.
Yep.
And it's just like you just have to like get used to it, I guess. That was the hardest thing. Like I would say at the last month wasn't that hard versus the first month was a lot harder than the last month just because of getting used to it, understanding what I'm doing with actually selling the stuff, and you know, being just being like in a new area, you know what I mean?
Absolutely. Yeah. So, kind of building off of that, how much has this summer changed you as a person, if it
Yeah,
has at all?
yeah, it has a lot, pretty much like completely. Like when I lived, well, not when I lived here. When I left Florida, I was coaching cheer in like a bunch of little kid like activities, and it wasn't really like getting me anywhere. Like I was literally making like $400 a paycheck, which is like $200 a week. So
Hmm.
like it really wasn't like it wasn't like an actual it wasn't even a full time job. It was like 4 hour shifts 5 days a week. So like it really wasn't anything crazy, and like that's just what I was like. I was like, yeah, this is cool because I get to do what I like, you know. But like at the same time, that's not really what I like to do because I would still dread going there. You know what I
Hmm.
mean? So like the way this has changed me is it's like literally opened my mind. Like I feel like I have like the answers now. You know what I mean? Like before I was like locked in. I was like I don't know what I'm going to do. Like if I can't get, a million followers on Instagram, or if I can't do this or that, like I'm just going to be broke forever coaching these kids, right?
Yeah.
And then when I went to California, I went and sold with all of you guys. Like it was, I saw like all these different options. Like there's just different ways. Like even just like while I was knocking, like I saw these yard workers. Like these guys make a full time income off of just friggin' mowing people's lawns, right? So I'm like, it just opened my eyes up to so many things. I talked to so many people that like they're like, oh, I do this job, I do this job, I help entrepreneurs with small businesses, or like I'm a real estate agent, or I'm a lawyer, or whatever these guys are doing. Like it just you just learn so much, and it changes you in every way because it's stuff you didn't know before, and now that you do know it, you need to act differently. Because if I knew everything I did now, and I just went back and started coaching right when I got back, this all would have been for nothing. You know what I
Right.
mean? Like you need to actually use what you're learning for it to change you, because you're not yeah, you don't change unless you apply what you learn, you know what I mean?
Absolutely.
So it has changed me in like pretty much every way. Like even the way I talk to people like on the street, the way I talk to like my girlfriend, my parents, the way I think about things, even when I'm just on my phone, the way I look at things, the way like I can literally like read a person now when they look at me and they're talking to me. Like I can almost tell if they're lying or not. You know what I
Hmm.
mean? Like you just learn these things over time. Like after you talk to so many people and you go through a lot, but you get a lot out of it as well. And it's like I guess it was like temporary. Like I was pushing through it. Like in the moment, you don't feel like you're learning that much. Like in the moment, you're like, holy crap, all this stuff in my brain. Like I'm trying to knock and do all this stuff and train and eat. Like it's kind of hard to like fully understand what's like exactly going on. But then you look back at it and you're like, oh my gosh, that all makes sense,
Hmm.
right? It's like, oh, now I see what they were saying when you get halfway through the summer and you might need a day off because you've been grinding and you just had your best week or whatever, and like it all makes sense, I guess I say.
Hmm. Yeah, absolutely. That was one of the bigger eye openers for me after my rookie summer, was just being able to it's kind of crazy how you're just able to read people differently.
Yeah.
And you feel so much more confident in just day-to-day conversations because you feel like you almost have like a
Yeah.
social leg up on people in
Literally.
conversations. And yeah, that's awesome. I'm glad you were able to experience that because
Yeah.
kind of transitioning now into what you're doing in what we call our off season, right? Which
Hmm.
is pretty much just outside the summer.
Yeah.
You've transitioned into basically another door-to-door thing, but for yourself, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly.
So you're doing window cleanings for people now,
Yeah.
and do you think, for one, you've been doing it for probably what, like 3 weeks, 4 weeks, maybe?
It was realistically, it's only been 2 weeks because
Okay.
it's been 3 weeks since I've been like doing the business. But one week, I went to Guns N' Roses. I went to a Guns N' Roses concert, so I
Hmm.
was gone I was gone for 4 of the 5 days of the week.
Right.
So realistically, it's been like 2 weeks of us actually like going out and doing this. But yeah,
How much money have you made from that so far? Just like total revenue.
total revenue. Let's see. So we made like in the first week, fun fact, we did every single clean for completely free. So we
Uh-huh.
would go and we offered, it was mainly just me. I was the only one doing the selling because my buddies didn't come out to the summer or anything like that. So they had no idea what they were doing. I was like, learn how to clean windows. You guys do that. I'll take what I learned from the summer and basically get you guys some houses to clean.
Uh-huh.
So I went around and I knew that they weren't like professionals yet. So I didn't want to, act like what they were. So we did the whole first week for free. Okay, we averaged $100 every house. So we worked like 4 days or 3 or 4 days in that first week of like actually cleaning, and we ended up with like $540 after
Yeah.
that first week. And
Well, yeah, and
then
just to kind of clarify, you did the cleanings for free, but the reason you made money was because the homeowners were tipping you guys, correct?
yes, that was a tip because I would
Yeah.
tell them, I would say tips are accepted, nothing's required. You could just take a look around, tell us what you think. If you think it's worth something, we'll take it.
Yeah.
Right? And then they would, look at the house, and some of them would like mess with us a little bit. Like one lady, we spent like 2.5 hours on her house. It was a 2-story house. I had to get up on the roof and everything.
Uh-huh.
And she was like, "All right, that was free, right?" And we were just like, "Yep, all good to go." And inside we're like, "Oh no!" But then she brought us a $150 check, and then I was like, "Okay,
Nice.
cool." So
No, that's
that was
awesome. I
like,
guess I guess more of kind of what I'm trying to ask.
yeah.
So you've probably done at least a couple $1,000 in revenue total,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, no. So after this last week, we did like $1,600 in this last week.
Right. And so obviously kind of a slow start for you because
Oh
you were
yeah,
doing them for free, trying to, get your guys used to actually cleaning windows, making sure it looks
yeah,
presentable and
yeah,
professional and all that kind of
yeah.
stuff. But the reason I'm kind of asking that
Hmm.
is, do you think you would have ever had any type of either motivation or want to get into something like that without even coming out for a summer? Like, do you think
No,
you would be on the same track?
no, not at all. Because the reason I felt like I was enabled to do something like this, or to even, like think of something like this, was because I was there. Like I
Hmm.
thought of the idea while I was there.
Right.
Like I would have never in a million years thought in a year from now, like let's say last year, in a year from now, I would be trying to run my own cleaning business or whatever the case may be. Like I would have never thought about that, right?
Right.
But now I'm here and I'm like, holy crap, I can totally make this work because I've had so much good training, so much like experience. It feels like I've had so much experience when I've only had a fraction of what some of you guys have had, you know what I mean?
Sure.
Um, but like it feels like I have a ton of experience. It feels like I said, I have like the answers. So like what I mean by that is I feel like I have more options, right? Like I can go into like knock on someone's door and feel comfortable talking to them. I can go up to somebody that maybe has like $10 million. They own a huge business, but I feel comfortable talking to them because I've sold houses that are $10 million. You know what I
Hmm.
mean? So it's like it gives me the confidence to do all that stuff.
Right.
So,
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I think that's great because sometimes people can get into this job or even they're thinking about it, and they don't necessarily have the experience or the knowledge to understand that them going through even just one summer allows them to open up really their mind to other things that they can do when it comes to door-to-door sales.
Yeah, it
Um,
feels like what I was gonna say is that it feels like it's opening up a bunch of doors for me, but
mhm,
realistically, it's just opening up my mind. Like I got no
right.
more. I didn't like come back to Florida and I have all these people throwing job applications at me or something. Like it's not about that. It's changed the way I think. It changed the
Right.
way I can like. I've been training my guys on how to get deals, and like it's crazy because yeah, I can tell them exactly what you guys told me, and I can see it work. You know what I mean? So like, yeah,
Mhm.
it's crazy.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. If you were to kind of the last thing here, if you were to give anybody any type of advice that's never done something like this before, kind of in the exact same situation you were in, but is kind of thinking about coming out,
hmm
what type of advice would you give to them? Um, when they kind of embark on that journey for their very first summer.
So if it's your very first summer, the advice I would give either myself or somebody else that's going to do it for their first time, it's just like just be ready, like be ready to grind and do your best because if you go out there and you're not doing your best, you're not going to feel like it's worth it.
Hmm.
But if you go out there and you honestly do your best every single day and apply yourself in every single way, not in just the training, not in just like being on the doors, but in everything, like go to the gym, try to eat healthy. Don't be trying to like waste all your money on like eating lunch every day because one, it will make the ending of the summer that make the payout bigger for you because you'd save your money. But two, it'll also give you like discipline. A lot of stuff that I learned there disciplined me. So be ready to work is the advice I would give. Um, Try your best in every single thing you do, and then just be like a sponge. Like try to soak in everything you can. Like that's my advice: is just soak in everything you can, um, because every single thing that you guys teach us is like it's not just training in sales, but it's just like training in life. It's training your mind. It's training like basically everything that has to do with your life in every way, not in just money, but not in just personal skills. It's pretty much everything. So just yeah, advice goes. Sorry, I get off track pretty easily.
You're good.
As far as advice goes, I would say just be ready to work, try your best, and just soak in everything you do. If it's before the summer, train, like literally train. There's no reason to not train before the summer. Most of the time, people are just sitting there doing nothing, maybe working their jobs. Like literally, just watch some videos, do some role plays, train as hard as you can. Like I honestly wish I would have had more time to train, or I would have done a little bit more each day, because that would have minimized the time that I didn't really know what I was doing.
Right. Absolutely. Yeah, man. Well, I appreciate you taking the time on a Sunday afternoon to
Yeah.
hop on this call. I wish you the best of luck. I'm really excited to see the growth in kind of this new adventure that you're embarking on, and I think it's going to be really great for you. So,
Thanks.
super proud of you there, man. But
Thank you.
we'll talk super soon.
Yes, sir.
All right, brother. See ya.
See ya.